this episode of VIdoe's RB and GTR tuning guide, we're taking a look at RB26 valve covers and comparing some of the most popular ones on the market. Valve covers, also known as cam or rocker covers, serve two main purposes. Firstly, they seal up the engine and hold the oil inside. And secondly, they manage the blow-by coming out of the engine. Now, in a factory car, that blow-by will go back into the inlet tract as part of emissions. It'll either go through a PCV valve or into the inlet tract before the turbocharger. Now, a performance car or modified car, though, that should go into an oil-air separator or into a catch can. Now, this is a whole topic on its own that we've done a very in-depth video about. Now, you can see the link down below or at the end of this video. Make sure you watch that and see why oil air separators and catch cans are so important. The RB26 is one of the best looking, if not the best looking engine on the market. And most of that is due to its valve cover design. So if it looks so good from factory, why is there so many aftermarket options for the RB26? Well, it first started off as a necessity to try and get extra clearance when you go to an RB30 block, as it's 50 millimeters taller and it hits the hood of the car. But since then, people have created new versions of the RB26 valve cover for both cosmetic and performance reasons, but now lately, it's even becoming a price point issue. Why? Well, RB26 OEM valve cover sets, including the valley cover and the front cover, can be upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 Australian dollars, depending on the condition. And if you want to modify and upgrade your OEM valve covers, by the time you buy a baffle kit, modify it by welding AN fittings onto it, get a new badge for the center valley, new dress-up bolts, and get it powder coated well, you could be spending 3,000 or 4,000 Australian dollars on just the upgrades. This makes buying aftermarket valve covers a great solution instead of modifying or trying to find OEM ones. And this whole video came about because I came across Jap Essentials billet symmetrical RB26 valve covers, which give the factory look at a good price, and I saw them on Charlie's GTR at GTR Festival. I wanted to go back to a traditional RB26 looking engine bay. Why? Well, why not? Sometimes you just feel like having a change. And this was a cost-effective way for me to do it, as modifying my factory ones was actually going to be more expensive than buying the Jap Essentials RB26 billet cam covers. Most companies only make the valve covers, as many modified engines don't run a center valley cover for better heat management or to fit larger coils, and they don't run a timing cover, in our case, due to the mechanical fuel pump. But doing a complete set in billet with baffles, AN fittings, oil cap, and already anodized red is cheaper than me modifying my OEM valve covers. So it's not only a cost-effective upgrade, they look awesome as well, with the twin turbo cutout filled in to make them symmetrical. They also come with AN fittings and an oil cap. They come with these baffles, which appear to be designed well to help stop the oil trapped in the head from spewing out the breather. These baffles only work with cam cap bolts, not studs, but Jap Essentials are releasing another version which works with studs on the cam caps. Fitment of the Jap Essentials valve covers is pretty straightforward. The valve cover seals fit in perfectly. The bolts for the baffles are larger than factory, so they don't thread and they tighten up easier. And it bolts straight up using bolts that would work with the OEM valve covers. We're using a PRP dress-up bolt kit on ours. The finished result is quite amazing. The anodizing gives you a look you can't get with powder coating and matches our old setup, and it now looks more like an RB26 again. So with the new Jap Essentials valve covers going on my R32, I realized we have quite a few sets of valve covers here and we should do a comparison between them. I have OEM valve covers that have already been modified. I have Hypertune valve covers, the Platinum Racing Products valve covers, and the Jap Essentials valve covers. So let's take a look at the dimensions, the weight, and the design of each of these valve cover sets. The OEM valve covers with AN fittings welded on is 130 millimeters in height above the AN fitting, and the top of the valve covers is 103 millimeters high. The weight with the baffles inside is 4.6 kilograms. Hypertune is the most compact and lightest, with 95 millimeters to the top of the AN fitting, and the valve covers are only 57 millimeters in height. With no baffles, which you can do in a sealed dry sump setup, they are the lightest by far at 2.6 kilograms. Baffles bring that up to a little over 3 kilos. The PRP covers are 105 millimeters high at the AN fitting and 75 millimeters high the full length. The PRP timing marker backing plate is what gives the most amount of bonnet clearance when combined with these cam covers. Weight-wise, they are 5 kilograms on the nose with baffles. The Jap Essentials cam covers are under 5 kilograms without baffles and 5.5 kilograms with the baffles. Expected due to the extra material, and they are 130 millimeters above the AN fitting and 100 millimeters high along the tall part of the valve cover, which is essentially the same as factory. Now, when it comes to baffling, the best solution for the OEM valve covers has proven to be either the High Octane Racing or the Minds baffle kit, tried and proven in many combinations. The PRP cam covers have the most intricate baffling in their cam covers. It's designed to run 2 lengths of the cam cover before it comes out the top. This is great for a wet sump application. The baffles for the Hypertune and the Jap Essentials valve covers is relatively straightforward and seems to be designed well enough to get the job done. However, when it comes to baffling, it's very hard to kind of prove which one works better and which one doesn't, as it's very rare that someone tests just the baffles and that the rest of their oiling system is perfect. Now, here's the thing about the oiling system in the RB26. If you don't have the restrictor pill, but you have a high volume oil pump and you're doing 1st to 5th pulls, you will fill the head with oil, and no amount of baffling is going to stop it. It's just going to fill up. So you can't blame the baffles if you're getting oil going into your catch can if you haven't done the rest of your oiling system correctly. The other thing that can go wrong with the oiling system is if you have bad blow-by, same deal. This isn't going to stop the blow-by. So you can't really use the baffles as a way to blame your complete oiling system in an RB26. Now, if you have a dry sump that is completely sealed, then the baffles are irrelevant because it doesn't breathe out of the cam covers at all. In my instance, I have one side sealed and one side breathes to the catch can, so I still need baffling on the driver's side valve cover. So which is the best valve cover to buy for your RB? Well, looks-wise, I can't answer that for you, that's up to you, but I do really like the symmetrical RB26 valve covers from Jap Essentials, which is why I got them. Now, from a performance perspective, which one performs the best? Like I said, with your oiling system, it's very hard to kind of just narrow it down to the baffles only when it comes to your oiling system. The PRP one does have the most intricate and long baffling system, so in theory would be the best when it comes to a wet sump. When it comes to a dry sump, the Hypertune has the win just purely because it's the lightest, most simple and most clearance. It is pure function only when it comes to those cam covers. Now, like I said earlier, the look of the RB26 is very important. So what wins when it comes to looks and price? Once again, I'm going to let you decide, but I'm going with the Jap Essentials symmetrical billet RB26 cam covers.